What is up? We are back. We just finished talking touchdowns. Now we're ready for the NBA rundown. We've brought AP in, and on Fridays, AP, we've had a great time. We've been picking winners. We've been hitting overs, and, of course, making great DFS scores. Tyler, I already know how you're doing, so we're going to go straight to you. AP, how did the week treat you in the National Basketball Association?
Yeah, it was a really fun week. I mean, guys, we're coming off like a generational – we gave people generational opportunity last week on, what was it, the Pistons against the Warriors, which – was that what it was?
No,
or was it the Magic?
It was the Magic against the Hornets.
Oh, was it?
Magic,
Hornets,
all right,
Hornets.
that's right. Yeah. So then I went on, like this week, I bet against the Warriors on this, their home or their road little stand that they're on. I think they're, 0-5 on the road? It's just been an absolute print fest. So, man, I'm excited, man. I'm fired up, excited to go. I mean, NBA is hot, like right now, DFS and betting-wise. So I'm excited to break it down with you guys.
All right. Tyler, any thoughts on the two games we saw in the NBA last night? Of course, I was disappointed not to get my best bet home yesterday. We nailed the Magic, but I did like the Thunder there. They had a really poor fourth quarter, but what's really hurtful was not getting that under. I gave out the 229 and it landed on 231. I know there's a lot of football going on last night, but did you catch any of the NBA? I told you I don't like the Thursday night football product as much. My eyes end up being on the NBA and some college football as well. So I enjoyed those games. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Orlando put up a great fight. And when you look at that box score in the Golden State game, like I was asking a buddy at work yesterday, if I told you Clay and Steph combined for 60-plus points, 15 threes, what do you think they did? And he's like, they won that game by 30. I was like, no, they lost it by 1. So it's like that team's just kind of in shambles right now. There's a clip on Twitter where Wiseman comes out to set a screen for Curry. He kind of sets a very lazy screen. You see Curry get frustrated. Wiseman spins to the bucket, turns around in the post. He's waiting for the ball. Curry's not giving it up because he didn't set the screen good enough. You see Wiseman get a little frustrated. So I think maybe you might want to look into getting rid of him while his trade value is still up there. I don't think he really fits as well as people thought he would. And the dude has stone hands. He cannot catch the ball whatsoever. So I'm not really big on Wiseman. Maybe make some changes here with this team. But again, it's the Warriors. It wouldn't surprise me to see them put it back together, win 15 games in a row, be right back in first in the Western Conference, and act like nothing ever happened to start the year. So,
yeah, and I'm not ready to give up on a young athletic big this early in his career. It's just too much potential there, and it's a sell low spot because what are you really going to get for him? But we'll see. One of my favorite pods, Tyler, talking about those screens, the dunker spot, and Nekias Duncan on there, who does a great job, not only on the podcast but on his Twitter as well, doing real in-depth breakdowns. Because I always say, right, there's betting basketball, and then there's actually knowing basketball. I can bet the heck out of the NBA. That doesn't mean I know how to design a defense to stop Steph Curry or things. Those guys are really good at knowing basketball, and I feel like I learn a lot. But one of the things he harps on is these big men come to the league and they don't know how to set screens, right? So when you said that, his voice is almost popping in my head because I completely agree with you, and that's one of the big flaws. And, hey, on that offense, you're going to be the fourth option. So you better be doing something to help your team win, and that's something that he's going to have to learn. So, AP, we just went through the NFL slate, but now we have an opportunity not to wait till Sunday, but to make some money tonight. And when the NBA has a huge slate for us tonight, they only had 2 games last night. I don't know if that was for the World Series or just the confluence of events going on, but nothing last night. And tonight is absolutely stacked, and I can't wait to talk to you about it. The Brooklyn Nets are the first team on the card, and they're in Washington taking on the Wizards. The Wizards are -3 at home. This line has moved 5 points with the Kyrie Irving news. It was Washington +2 at the opener. Now Washington -3 feels about right, 222.5. I'll tell you what, boy, there's a lot of bad stuff going around this Nets team, and we're not going to necessarily delve into that here because we are a gambling show. We're a daily fantasy show, and we'll leave the political commentary to those who are better at it. But what we do know is that Kyrie Irving is out for a minimum of 5 games, and that's going to put all the onus of the offense onto Kevin Durant. I think it could help. Could hurt the Nets on the defensive end, though. So even with the line move, I think it's correct. And I kind of want to play Washington here. Of course, they also have a new coach, Jacques Vaughn. They got all types of stuff going on there in Brooklyn. We could do a whole show just about what's going on in Brooklyn, but we're not. We're just going to give you some winners. Washington's -3. The total's 222.5. I had a huge over on the playbook. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, who'd you give that to, spread?
We'll start with you. I'm sorry.
I'm about to say no name was given up.
Yeah.
we both went to go.
Yeah, I'm on fire today. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this game, I did see a report on Twitter. They said that might have been Kyrie's last game in Brooklyn. So keep an eye on that. He might be on his way out. Not going to get into the stuff off the floor. But as for on the floor, they couldn't win. They had trouble closing and winning games with both the main guys on the floor.
Right.
Now you're going to take one guy off. Where's all that usage going to go? KD can only take so much of it, which it's just going to make him a better DFS play. It's also a hometown game from him. He's from DC, gets to come back home, play a team. Yeah. So it's a nice spot for him. They also don't have a guy that can really match up well with him. So I could see him putting up a monster number. I just don't see him winning this game, spread. We talked about it on the last rundown. When Washington's still healthy, even though they're made of glass, they're going to be tough to beat. Getting him at a short spread here, wish I would have got in on him at the +2 as an underdog because I would have just took the money line. But I think they win this game. They cover the spread, and they get out of here with a win.
All right. What are your thoughts, AP? Definitely have to consider big KD here when we're making these lineups, right?
Yeah. Tyler, you said you're on the Nets, right?
No, I'm on the Wizards here. I think
the Wizards.
I think they win this game.
Gotcha.
They had trouble beating the Pacers with both guys. I can't see KD single-handedly taking down this team.
I mean, oh, man. So we have a 5-point move.
It could happen, but I just don't see it.
Here's kind of my from a confidence standpoint, I would say kind of average, middle of the road. But I mean, when you're talking a 5-point move, like, is Kyrie worth that? I mean, he hasn't been doing anything defensively. He's been awesome offensively, obviously. But gosh, I think with him out, I think Kevin Durant just comes out and balls and does what all he wants to do is play basketball. It seems like, at least that's what he says. You got Royce O'Neal, who's been an absolute stud for them. Claxton, who's been good. I like this matchup for Claxton as well. And then you have, it's pretty thin. Like Joe Harris, a shooter. Really wonder how many minutes he's going to play. He hasn't seen 30 yet. And then the rotation, I'm really curious to see what they do. Like, we haven't seen any Cam Thomas this year. Edmund Summers been kind of the guy. And then you got Patty Mills. We haven't seen much of him. I mean, this rotation is going to be it should be very, very tight. KD is like an absolute lock in DFS for me. And I don't know, man. I think I don't know. I think there's a little bit of value in the Nets here, the Nets side, if they're getting 3. I think we see a close game. I actually have a lean on the under here, spread. So I just think without
That's
Kyrie
funny.
there,
we had this game going over when I did the projections, but we talked about this before, and we talked about it on the NFL rundown. All my numbers are with Irving in the game. So that's where you can't just blindly bet a model.
Yeah, and for me, it's mainly been I've been a little surprised about the Wizards defensively. I still think the Nets, they're terrible, defensively, but no Kyrie in there. I'm not saying that makes them better at all. It definitely doesn't. So don't take that. But their defense, they should maybe be a little bit better because the only way of beating this Wizards team, which I do think they could, is they got to show up on defense, and KD has to have a monster game. So I'm not going to bet this spot. I do think Kevin Durant's an absolute lock, though, in DFS.
All right, and I'm going to start building a lineup now while we're talking. I just threw Kevin Durant in there.
What about this forward. David Duke Jr.? He's going to see minutes. They've used him before in spots when they've been short bodies. He's only 3,100. And I think we'll trade Cam Thomas. They said he does not want to be there. I think he's already in that same Jay Crowder boat where it's sit on the bench or go home. We'll get you out of here in the next month or two.
Yeah, you got to be really careful on this slate with some of the values out there because with all the injury news that we have, look at the Warriors situation. We're not even to that game, obviously, but there's going to be so much good value. So when you're going out there and you're dialing in your projections, you really have to make sure that you have that you're very confident on your projections for these values. That you really like. And I think the Warriors situation is going to give us some really nice value that would be much better than a guy like David Duke. Because I just see the Nets, everything's going to run through KD. So even if that guy plays 25, 27 minutes, the usage is going to be very low because they're going to be running through KD. And then it's, what their second option is like Royce O'Neal, Joe Harris. I mean, it's going to be thin. Maybe a little bit of Patty Mills too. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do.
Tyler, usually, right, I do the sides and totals. You do the props. But I think I found a winner here from a prop perspective, and it's Kristaps Porzingis over on the points, rebounds, and assists, or just points and rebounds if you have that. Here's my thinking. The last 2 games against Philadelphia, Joel Embiid is out. Kristaps Porzingis is 7'3", 7'4", and he was being guarded right by PJ Tucker and Montrezl Harrell, right? And he's absolutely feasted. He put it up 32-9 and 30-9 in the 2 games there against the Philadelphia 76ers. What's different about tonight? Claxton? I mean, it seems like Porzingis is absolutely going to feast again. He's been hot. Why would they not feed him? I like Porzingis over here. Do you agree?
I agree there. I kind of lean towards the other quote-unquote big man Washington sending out because Claxton's quick on his feet. If he can get out to the perimeter and chase Porzingis around, make his life a little bit worse than the last couple of games. KD is not chasing Kuzma around at all tonight. He knows he is needed on the offensive end. Mm-hmm. Kuzma might fall into like 25 points right here, just being left open. KD's just kind of lackadaisical on the defensive end, just waiting to go back down the other end, catching a break. So I'd rather play some Kuzma numbers over some Porzingis spots here. But I see where you're coming from too, because he could absolutely smash that front court.
Yeah, and I mean he's really good when he's matched up against smaller players, and now that he's getting an opportunity, what do you think, AP?
Yeah, so let me add just one comment. Like Kuzma, no one's going to play Kuzma in DFS. Like I'm showing like under 1% ownership, and the reason is because we have so much value on the slate. But I like what you're saying on him, Tyler, just because like no one's going to play him. He does have upside. Like the Nets are bad defensively. Man, I think in tournaments you could play a guy like Kuzma or Porzingis.
You
but
play
I think
the 1 and 1 right there, KD, and then come back with Kuzma.
Yeah. And then, like, you don't have to run it back. And the Wizards are obviously healthy, have more mouths to feed, but like limited it to like one run back, and a guy like Kuzma or Porzingis, maybe even Bradley Beal could be like, if this game stays close, you're going to want one of their, studs potentially there with KD. And I do think Kuzma would be kind of interesting.
All right, I want to say what's up to everybody in the chat. Devin, we got you. We're bringing the winners. And, hey, we're getting some great advice in the chat. Get those likes up. Richie Smalls always does it for me. Richie, I got to send you something at the end of the year, at least a Christmas card, because you're always doing a great job encouraging everyone to hit that like button as we continue on the NBA Rundown, brought to you by runpuresports.com. Let's move on to the next one because we got plenty of games. The Miami Heat are -3.5 in Indiana taking on the Pacers. Pacers sitting at 3-5 this year, Tyler. Another team, right? We don't know where they're going with the center. Miles Turner just straight goes on a podcast, says he wants to be traded. Hey, this new NBA media.
He legit gave like a sales pitch to the Lakers. He's like, you guys can't shoot. I can shoot. Bring me in. I'll fix the offense. Like, dude wants out of there so bad, and he knows where he wants to go, and he just can't get there.
Yeah, I think it's a good fit though, too, right? I mean, Buddy Hield and Miles Turner there.
I seen a tweet. It was like, wouldn't it be hilarious if Golden State turned around and traded like pieces and went and got Miles Turner and Buddy Hield to fix their offense?
Golden State?
Yeah, because of how there's hiccuping right now. It's like they bring in Turner to run the center.
Although to be fair, with where the Pacers are in development, Turner for Wiseman isn't the craziest idea. I just don't think Golden State can
Turner
afford
on the Warriors is like the dream fit for him.
Yeah. I just don't think they can afford it. But yeah,
no.
That's a lot of fun to discuss. And of course, we can't talk about these games without checking the injury report. And this one is littered.
This one's ugly.
Yeah, you're at 7. I don't know how much that means. Jimmy Butler's out. Jovic, not Jokic. Jovic is out. Oladipo, I don't think he's played a game yet this season. And Tice is all out. Isaiah Jackson back for Indiana. Jamal Cain, a player I'm not familiar with, in for Miami. Bam Adebayo is questionable, and Aaron Nesmith is questionable there for the Indiana Pacers. So kind of a tough game to handicap, Tyler. We talked about before about having these projections that don't really do a lot for us because basically they're made off of the statistics of a bunch of players that aren't in the game tonight. I thought this game was kind of tough for me to handicap. The total's 227. Where are you going here with the Pacers and the Heat?
Just give me the total. Give me the over. I think it'll be up tempo game. No Jimmy. There's a chance no Bam either. So this might just be two small ball teams just running up and down the floor, letting shots fly. Hero and Halliburton are just going to go back and forth like both their props. Points.
Hero's been good, Tyler. You brought that up earlier.
I would go from their points prop to their threes prop to their points plus assist prop. Hero's even been a very good rebounder. I mean, it's just the injury report too. Like, you're going to have to wait for some news here as for a side, but I don't even think I'm going to play a side regardless of the injury news. Just give me the over and some props here.
Yeah, I mean, with so many games on the slate, I think it's tough to really identify and say, hey, I have like a 55% edge here. Halliburton has been smashing this season. Richie put that in the chat. But with so much on the slate tonight, do we have interest in him, AP, and how are you approaching this game from a betting perspective?
Yeah, so I love the call on the over here. It seems like the market right now, like, is, tries to be pretty conservative on these Miami Heat spots, but we have no Jimmy. We got Tyler Hero, who's been an absolute baller, and then we have the Pacers who play no defense, and they'd like to play with pace. I mean, Halliburton pushes it up the court as fast as he can, which is something that we like when we are on overs. So I love that call. As far as the side goes, tougher spot. I mean, has to, without Jimmy in there, I mean, you would think that the Pacers could steal this one. So I would be hesitant to bet the Heat here. But I don't feel comfortable in the Pacers side either. So the over is what it would be for me. And then, yeah, Tyler Hero. I can't, man, it's crazy. No Jimmy in last time. Let's see, what was that? It was Wednesday's slate, I believe, against the Kings. And I loaded up on Hero, and he just smashed, put up a 50-piece. And he wasn't even highly owned. Like, there weren't a lot of people on him. And I could see that being the case tonight. I think it's the reason, at least tonight, why he's going to be lower owned is because we have so many good plays at the shooting guard, point guard position. And then his price tag of 7.6. I just think people aren't used to seeing like Tyler Hero up there. But you have to understand, he's the offense, man. And he's going to have open shots all night against this Pacers team. And the dude, he's looked super good. Like, I think, man, like against the Kings, I like, what's a Davion Mitchell? What do they call him? Off night?
Yeah.
Is that what? Yeah. Tyler Hero did not have an off night against Davion Mitchell. So,
I mean, he walked away from Mitchell on that last play. Legit walked away from him to shoot that game winner.
Yeah, Stevie Boy, and I don't know if you're watching, but your boy was struggling against Tyler Hero. So I'm going right back to Hero. And then Kyle Lowry, like we finally saw, I mean, kind of, I don't know if it's just that next man up mentality or if it's just now that, he can be a little bit more aggressive on the offensive end without Jimmy in there. But we saw what looked like a more motivated Kyle Lowry. So I think he's a very solid play. And then you got Bam. Like, man, this slate tonight, like these early games are so nice. It's going to be one of those slates where I probably load up on these early games and just hope that the nightcaps don't kill me.
Yeah, I mean, AP, you hit it on the head, right?
Hear me out on this one, AP.
Okay.
It's going to be tough to click this button. It is going to be an up-tempo game. Not much defense played. Duncan Robinson at 3,300. He can't hit 5 threes right here.
Yeah, no, I think he's a very viable value. I mean, he's shooting dependent, but he's going to have open looks too. I mean, when he stepped in against the Warriors, he was a key guy off the bench. The other thing that we like is they're going to run a tight rotation. I think you need pieces from Miami in your lineup. There's going to be multiple pieces from the Heat, I think, in the winning lineup. Is that going to be like – so now what you have to think of is we have so much value on the slate. What does Duncan Robinson need to do? Is he better than a Jonathan Kuminga, who I think is 3.1K? Is he like, so you have to start weighing these values against each other and make sure that your projections align with how you feel so that, some random value isn't just like rolling into your lineups. So like right off the bat there, we talked about David Duke, 3.1K. I would have Duncan Robinson over him. And then I think I would have Kuminga, over both of them. So that's something that, as you're planning your builds out tonight, that you're going to have to think about all of this value because there's going to be a ton of it available tonight.
Yeah, and AP, I'm a guy that loves the NBA. I talked earlier about, podcasts I like. I'm consuming NBA content daily, member of The Athletic, uh, premium podcast, Dunked On. I pay for them all. And I still think tonight's so tough to navigate. So what a great night for me to be
Another
able to use the
tidbit
tools available.
on the side here, spread.
Yeah.
I think I am going to be on Indiana here. Third game in 4 nights for Miami. They're missing key guys. It's going to be an up-tempo game. Even though they're the quote-unquote most conditioned team in the NBA, running up and down the floor tonight, I think they finally gas. So give me Indiana here as the dog price.
Yeah. Another value. So like playing on that narrative, I think instead of Kyle Lowry, I think you go like if you want to get different, you could go. So like I love Tyler Hero, so I'm going to be in on him. I think he's going to be fine. But Gabe Vincent, I think 3.9K. If you play him as a value piece, I think that could get you pretty different in this spot.
How'd you feel about my hot take from the show a couple of days, AP? Tyler Hero's the best player on this roster now.
He's only looking at one side of the ball.
Yeah. If we're not like, and I don't really care about defense that much. I'm an offensive guy, so I'll join you on that.
No, I think he is. I think.
I know we the people will be with you too, Tyler.
I know it's not Bam. I know it's not Bam. I'll say that.
Bam, yeah.
The argument you make is for Jimmy and his ability to shut down the opposing team's best player, and also his ability to get those mid-range shots and get to the rim with the game on the line. But I think the arguments. I think last year you would laugh, and I think this year we can have a legitimate discussion, Tyler. So. I think there's a great reason to do that. And AP, I kept making that heat map today, right? I was talking about the tools at Run Fair Sports. I mean, that just must feel like writing a 5,000 word thesis today as all these moving parts go on, huh?
Yeah. So like on days like this, you'll see that like I have it mapped out, but I already have some changes. So, I mean, the colors aren't going to go up and be applied probably for, I don't know, a couple hours at least. I just like all the news to come out and settle, rerun projections, and then start mapping it out.
That's right. Glaucoma does the FanDuel heat map, and you do the DraftKings heat map, and it's just a great tool to use when you're starting to build the NBA lineup. I like to start there, and then you check the up to lock show, and then I can tinker right with Big T and JSU, getting the late news, making the adjustments right. I might not have time to go and see what you've done, but I can just make a switch in and out of the lineup. But I already have. You've used the heat map to just start with 2 or 3 lineups that I really like and then finally get them where I need to be. So that's why, of course, it is great to be a part here at runpuresports.com. Let's move on to the next game because we have quite the slate tonight, and we're only through 2, huh? The New York Knicks plus 3.5 in Philadelphia taking on the 76ers. Total 219.5. The 76ers, of course, received the bad news that James Harden could be out for over a month now with an injured foot. So that's going to be tough for the team. But you know what it's not tough for, AP, is Tyrese Maxey shares in daily fantasy. The guy was already being an absolute beast with Embiid out. Now with Harden and more room to work, I expect him to do well. The Knicks, man, I wasn't too high on them to start the year. And Tyler and I thought they were going to be a lottery team. They're playing well like they did that first year under Thibodeau. So, this team's been playing tough. They're a bunch of veterans, and they play good defense. How do you expect them to fare against the Philadelphia team? And, of course, we can't finish this without checking, and I see Joel Embiid still questionable. Do you guys have any news on him? Because, of course, it's tough to pick this game without knowing if he's going to be in there.
Still the illness. So, I mean, unless you got inside information on how he's actually feeling, I don't think anybody knows.
I thought he went through shoot around. Maybe it could have been someone else, but
I seen Giannis went through shoot around.
It wasn't Embiid. Because I was going to say, if he was at shoot around, he's playing tonight, but. And then the line, I think, is somewhat indicative of him playing. I think maybe probable, but who knows? We'll see.
All right, so let's just cap the game if Embiid's in there, right? We got to give something to people. And then just guys know if Embiid's out, throw this handicap out the window. Let's say Embiid plays, the line's 3.5 AP. Who would you like?
Yeah, so, man, I don't know, man. It's hard to bet again. Like, if Embiid's in there, I have to take the Philly side here. I think it's going to be kind of a battle, but Tyrese Maxey's been an absolute baller. Like, it's probably like a no bet for me. Like, we're going to have so many good opportunities tonight to find better value in plays. So betting wise, I would be off of it. But man, like if we assume Embiid's playing, no Harden in there, he's like Embiid hasn't put up, like he's only put up one monster score on the season. I think he's going to be like one of the best tournament plays on the board. Like
really,
we have all the value in the 10.2K, no Harden. The offense is fully going to run through him and Maxey. Man, I think like I kind of like him in the spot against the Knicks. Like I'm not worried about Mitch Robinson or Julius Randle or these guys down there. Like Embiid, I think Embiid would absolutely smash. So give me Embiid in tournaments if he plays, and give me Philly to win with the big game from Tyrese Maxey. And then I like how DeAnthony Melton's playing with this team, man. He looks real good. I think he's a fine. Like I don't think he's a lock or any. Like I know when I first ran the optimizers this morning, I was getting a ton of Melton. Keep in mind, like he's not like he's in there. Like he's a good defensive player. He's a guy who can get steals and blocks, and that's what you're going to need in DFS formats. Like that's what you're relying on him, not his offensive abilities, because everything's going to run through Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid and then Tobias Harris. So Melton and PJ Tucker, I see are good defensive dudes. And then I also like the under here as well. A slight lean to the under. I just think, man, I mean, the Knicks aren't playing good defense either, but this Philly team, like on paper, does have the ability to be a good defensive team.
Tyler, your Knicks been playing some good defense and they have big centers, but AP says go to Embiid anyways. What are your thoughts?
I'm going to be on the other side. I mean, I don't hate the Embiid call for fantasy-wise because, again, just like you said, he's by himself, could easily smash the spot. But as for betting-wise, the Knicks just blew that game against Atlanta that they looked like they were going to cruise to a win, and they just went absolutely cold from the field, couldn't get the job done, got blown out in the end. You got to think they got a bad taste in their mouth. Philly missing Harden also now. It's like their bench depth wasn't all that deep to begin with. Now Melton's probably going to be on the starting lineup. You're not really going to have much of a bench here. The Knicks have the better bench. I think they're looking for a win to get right. I'm taking the Knicks here spread. I think Brunson leads them to a win. Embiid might even – I think Embiid and KD can have giant stat lines and lose both games tonight. So I'm going to side with the Knicks here at the dog price.
That's a great
real
point.
Quick.
They can crash it in losses.
Real quick, Degenerate Jetter. Look, this is the 7 p.m. game. We're going to know if Embiid's playing or not. You're never going to be shit out of luck. Like, that's why with NBA DFS, you got to be able to monitor the news. And there's many different sources. Basketball Monsters one. I mean, there's Underdog. A lot of different things that you can use. Yeah, Underdog NBA. Keep the alerts on. You'll know if Embiid's in there or not. What I'm saying is, if he plays, he's going to be an awesome tournament play because I don't think anyone's going to play him. I think because there's other studs on the slate and there's all the value in the world to make it work.
All right. Anything more from this game, Tyler, before we move on?
Yep, that's pretty much it for me on that one.
All right. Let's talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are -6, heading to Detroit to take on the Pistons. The Cavaliers got one of the most exciting wins of the season, right? I mean, how much fun was that game? And, of course, it was fun because we were on Cavaliers' money line here on the Run Pure Sports team, and they get it done in overtime. Huge win over the Boston Celtics. This Cavaliers team improved to 6-1. Now they're on the road heading to Detroit once again. I mean, I can't believe it's only November, and we got to heavily monitor this news. But it's tough for us here. Donovan Mitchell, questionable. Darius Garland, questionable. Raul Neto, questionable. And Jalen Duren is also questionable. We do know that Dylan Windler and Alec Burks will be out for their respective teams. But, boy, this is tough to handicap right now. But AP, with so much value, I mean, there could be even more if one or two of Mitchell or Garland sits. I went ahead and ran my projections with one of them in there. And I think because they're both so ball dominant, they can still be that same team. And they haven't played together much this season regardless. If just one of them is in there, I'm on the Cavaliers. If they're both out, I'm out on this game. How are you approaching the Cavaliers and the Pistons?
Yeah, the reporting on this is funny. So it says for both Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland went through some of shoot around. Not all, but some. So interpret that however you want. My lean is like if they're at shoot around, then why aren't you playing? Like, I mean, like it's just so funny. There's so many telling things in the NBA right now. If you ever see a midday downgrade, like a no tag on a guy, then he randomly pops up midday as questionable. he's likely out. It's like they should just say he's out already or doubtful. Like it's just crazy. And then it's the opposite way too. If someone's quite like if then someone gets upgraded, it's almost like an audit. Like if they go from doubtful to questionable, it's like almost an automatic they're playing. And if they make it through shoot around, it's usually they're going to end up playing. So on paper, if they do all play, tough spot. Like I don't like betting against the Pistons, like at home. Like that's our rule. We always bet Detroit, or not always, but we like to bet them at home, and they've been competitive. Like I talked to our boy Gary out of taking the Pistons the other night, or I think it was last week against the Bucks, and they fought back, kept that one real close. On paper, this Cavs team should be able to dismantle the Pistons tonight, but I don't know, man. Cade, Jaden Ivey, these guys play tough. Like Beef Stew, he's been playing tough. It's if the Cavs are to cover, it's that second unit, man. Like Killian Hayes sucks. He's not good. Like I don't know. Give me the Cavs side here, but not a game I want to bet.
Yeah, obviously it's tough with us waiting on the news. Tyler, what are you thinking?
Give me one of those guards, and I think they smashed this Detroit team spread.
Yeah, we just need one. Right?
I think Detroit's on like the up and coming. Like they're one of them teams. They're young. They're gonna put together some wins that surprise us. A few years they'll be good. Are we sure Cleveland's not in the top tier in the East? Like, are they up there with the Bostons and the Milwaukees already? I mean, I know they haven't shown anything in the playoffs, but that team looks damn good.
If we're doing tiers, let's put Boston and Milwaukee right at the top, and I'm going to put Cleveland in there with Philadelphia and Miami. How would you feel about that?
I think there's a tier in between both of those, and like Cleveland's in it by themselves.
You like Cleveland more than Philadelphia and Miami?
Yes,
so far?
right now, yes.
Okay, that's fair.
This seems like a spot too where Kevin Love comes off the bench and puts up a quick like 22 in not even 20 minutes of play.
Yeah, he can nuke his team.
So it's funny. If you're multi-entering tonight, like if you're a 150 max player, I think you should always, in spots like this one, I think you should always have Kevin Love in your player pool, over project him, but set a max exposure limit to him. So what you're wanting to do is get him into some of your builds because no one's going to play him because he's not going to project well because he's never going to play, 25 plus minutes. But there's been two times already this season where he's just gone off for like an insane amount of points in just like 20 minutes of play. And it's usually against shit teams. I could see it. And I'm not saying Detroit is, I like the pieces Detroit has. So I'm not saying like the Cade, Ivy, like these guys are going to be really good, but their second unit sucks, man. I think Kevin Love comes in and puts up a number on them. And I think that's how they end up covering.
Lively chat today. We want to thank everyone for joining us here on the NBA Rundown, brought to you by Run Pure Sports. Please hit that like button as we continue to break down this slate. The Chicago Bulls plus 7.5 against the Boston Celtics, total of 223.5, plus 234 on the money line. Although I'm not interested in that money line, Tyler. My projections like the Bulls, but it's just slightly. Why are the Bulls catching so many points? What am I missing? I see Andre Drummond's out. Kobe White's out. 7.5 seems like a lot to Boston. Am I wrong? Do you think that I misprojected this game?
I mean, seems like a lot, but again, these two teams just played about a week ago. Mm-hmm. Chicago was able to pull out that win. Mind you, they shot about 60% from three. Every shot they were throwing up was dropping in, and Boston really didn't have a chance. Mm-hmm. Boston off of 2 straight losses to Cleveland. They want to get back in the win column. They also want to get the win back against a team that just shot the lights out against them. So I understand why there's the bigger number here because I think Boston could walk out on the floor tonight and just pound this team right into the ground and win this game by like 25. So I'm going to side with Boston here because the only real advantage I see for Chicago is in the middle with Vucevic. He was able to dominate this Boston team last time out. I'm going to go with that even if he does this time that they're not going to shoot 60% from three and Boston's going to be able to win this game. So give me Boston here.
AP, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I gotta agree here with Tyler. I just like it seems like I get what you're saying. Like it seems like a lot of points, and I think like from a public standpoint, they're going to like the Bulls here, just given everything that's gone on. But I mean, come on, man! Like this Boston team, just straight up. If they want to, if they're motivated and come out and play good basketball, should be able to handle the Bulls really easily. And I like what Tyler said. I think those 2 losses to Cleveland, which, man, the Cavs, going back to what Tyler said about them, I might be 100% on board with what he had to say about his ranking of Cleveland. But with that in mind, I think they come out motivated. I think Boston wins by double digits. So I'm not like, I never feel that good about betting a side that's that large in a spot like this whenever everyone's healthy. But if I had to, it would definitely be Boston here.
Yeah, I mean, we thought that Boston would struggle when they lost Dolomite as their coach, but they're just moving right along. So we'll move right along here on the NBA Rundown. The Charlotte Hornets are plus 11 taking on the Memphis Grizzlies, total 226.5. Tyler, another one that I dived into the player prop pool. Why would we not take John Morant here, right? Terry Rozier, he's going against Terry Rozier. I mean, what's going to happen here? What do you think, Tyler? You're muted because you're jumping in, and I know you want to tell me.
Even if Rozier plays, he's listed doubtful. Martin's doubtful. Gordon Hayward's out of this game, so there goes an offensive guy for them.
Is that why the spread's so high?
Yeah, that's probably why it moved even more, because now it's just Oubre, PJ Washington, Dennis Smith Jr., and the bunch.
Oh, Dennis Smith Jr. is the other one that he'll be matched up against. Tell me that's not an advantage matchup.
Yeah, I mean that's the perfect matchup for him. And where we see Ja have problems is when there's a big in the middle that can move and keep him away from the rim. Charlotte doesn't have that. He's gonna go right to the hoop, get anything he wants at the rim, probably score 30 plus here. So definitely like Ja. Not going to lay the 11.5 points. I'd probably come at it through one of the performance doubles. Him to score 30 and Memphis wins. You'll probably get that right around like plus 150.
AP, we love John Morant tonight. What are your projections saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough because the Grizzlies are all healthy. So like when you're analyzing a spot like this, you know, you want the game to be back and forth. You want it to be a high scoring environment, which is what we should see here. I just don't know if the Hornets are going to be able to keep up for us to get max minutes from John Morant. Okay. And, you know, Jenkins is the type of coach where if this game is in hand, you have to think that he could like run Tyus out there for extended minutes in the second unit or test some of these other guys out. So that would be my main concern with John Morant in comparison to some of the other studs that we have on the slate. I will say man, if I had to bet this game, it would probably be the Grizzlies too. I have a lean on the over. My worry is if the Hornets can't keep up scoring wise, that would be how the over doesn't get there. If we see just like what we saw against the Bulls, where they failed to put up 90 points, a game like that is just going to crush the over script. But I do have a lean on the over because I think the pace is going to be good. From a fantasy standpoint, just looking at that game that they played against the Bulls, I think it was Jalen McDaniels played I think he played 36 minutes. So, and he should get the start tonight. And, you know, potentially might be involved in garbage time too, if it comes down to that. So, the other thing too is like the Grizzlies haven't been playing that good of defense. So this is a spot I like. I think we can play PJ Washington. I think we can play Kelly Oubre, Dennis Smith. So like my way of playing this, you know, if you just think of from a betting standpoint or DFS, instead of betting the Hornets, you could just stack this game up a little bit, get pieces from the Hornets side. And now you're just hoping that, you know, you're banking on this game staying somewhat close for those guys to hit value. Because if this game does stay close and if it goes over, you're going to want a couple pieces from this game. You know, I mean, Kelly Oubre is 6.3, Jalen McDaniels 4.5. You can play him at small forward or power forward. PJ Washington is 5'8". If he gets going, man, he's a guy that I think he just recently put up like 45 DK points or something. 43, back-to-back 43 point games. So, and then struggled against the Bulls. So a nice bounce back spot for him. I think this is going to be a good game for fantasy. And then another value to talk about, book night, 3.3K. He's going to be a guy that's going to get run in the second unit no matter what. And then he would benefit from garbage time if it comes down to that. He's 3.3K. I think he's a really good play as a value piece on draft.
And as a way to get different because everyone else is going to be shoving those Golden State 3K guys in there, right? So I think
it's hard. Yeah, good point. It's probably hard to play him over some of the Warriors.
In a single entry, it's tough, right? But if you're MME in, maybe there as a way to get different. So, Los Angeles Clippers -4 in San Antonio taking on the Spurs. Tyler, two teams we thought that were going to suck. Utah and the Spurs have a winning record through 10 games, but the Wizards were great through 10 games last year. So we know that doesn't mean everything. Still, the Spurs are catching 4 points at home against the Clippers team, and we discussed the Clippers in length yesterday, so I'm not going to repeat myself. Seemed like we have a lot of the same viewers. Give us that thumbs up. Tyler, what are your thoughts here when the Clippers take on the Spurs?
I'll save us some time here, Spread. Jimmy Butler gift, ball this one up, throw it over your shoulder. I ain't touching this game.
Okay, no props, nothing. What do you think, AP? Do you cross it off from daily fantasy perspective as well?
I mean, yeah. So breaking this down DFS wise, I mean, the Clippers play at a slow pace, and they try to play defense. The Spurs do not play any defense, and they're playing with pace. They're a team that we can attack. I think, Paul George, now that you can play him at the small forward position or shooting guard position, I think he has, and he's 9.5K. He has to be in discussion as far as tournament plays go. This guy just put up 75 DK points on the who is that? The Rockets? Yeah, Rockets. Yeah, he went absolutely off. This rotation, though, that Ty Lue's throwing out there makes things really, really difficult. I mean, they're a deep team, but they're not really playing like a deep team. So I think the Clippers get the win here. And I think guys like Reggie Jackson at 5'3" maybe in playing tournaments. Paul George, 9.5K. You may be in playing tournaments. Zubac. I mean, man, it's getting kind of tough, but some of these guys are definitely in play. And then I'm just glad that the Spurs side, these guys are priced up. I think the only guy I would play is Devin Vassell, or I'd consider playing just because he's chucking when he's in there. However, we have so many good plays in that range. Why? Like at the end of the day, it's a 12-game slate. Why in the world would I give myself a headache by messing around with these Spurs guys? When we have 12 games to find other plays in, I cross the spot off and move on. So
and Hoop always talks
fine.
about that, right?
Yeah.
With our limited time, right? We only have so much time to break down all these games. Sometimes that's what you have to do because there's a game that we're going to talk about 2 times from now that's probably going to deserve your full attention. But before we do that, we'll talk about the Toronto Raptors, who are +3.5 in Dallas, taking on the one-man show that is Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks. They just keep feeding Luka. He's almost averaging a triple-double there, Tyler. So it's weird, right? It's the 2 ways to play basketball, right? You got the one-man show versus the consummate team, right? The team that plays right. They got so much depth. They do everything correctly. They're well coached. And then you have just this generational superstar in Luka Doncic. Which way are you going on this one?
Give me the dog here, Spread. I think there's a path where Toronto can kind of give him some fits. They got a ton of guys they can throw at him on defense. Barnes being the big key one. I think Barnes can actually cover him. He has the length. He's bigger than him. I think he could stop him in the post also with some of them fadeaways. And if you kind of slow Luka down, this Dallas team, I mean, Dinwiddie could help you out and catch fire and win you the game. I'm not going to trust it here. I'm going to trust Toronto to come into Dallas, win the game outright, and just give me the money line. I think they come in, they beat them. And it's it's like you look at it, it's like Siakam's the better version of Wood. Like OG Anunoby's kind of out there.
Way better. I mean, Wood can't play defense to save his life.
OG Anunoby's the younger, probably better version of Bullock. Like their teams are built similar. It's just Luka's the big difference here. But the defense on the other side, I think it evens everything out, and they'll be able to slow him down. So give me Toronto here.
Toronto is 5-1 in their last 6 against the spread. AP, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I like this. I'm in agreements with Tyler again. Like Toronto, what they want to do defensively, it seems like most of the time take away the opposing player's best dude, and that's tough to do with Luka Doncic. But they had, I think he only has 2 triple doubles against the Toronto Raptors, and one of those games was an OT game, and that's tough to do. Like when you're up against Luka Doncic, like the dude is a triple double machine. So. They've he has some bad games, like 35 DK points, 55, 35. Like he has some tough games against Toronto. So, man, if they can slow him down, that's kind of the first thing you need to do to beat this Mavs team. And I hate betting against Luka. I hate betting against the Mavs. But if I had to put a bet down here, it would be on the Raptors. And I see this game playing slow too. Maybe a slight lean on the under as well, even though it's like 216. That's pretty low in today's NBA. If this was last year, I'd be smashing the under here. But with how they're calling fouls and everything, it's a little bit different this season. So slight lean on the Raptors. And then, man, DFS-wise, another game we cross off. Too many good games. We don't want, while we like the Raptors rotations, not here against the Mavericks that play slow, play good defense.
Yeah, I agree with you there on the defense. Also, a quick note, the under has gone 5 out of the last 6 times these teams played against each other. So kind of correlates with what you're saying there. And you talked about Luka's struggles. Well, where's the switch that he's hunting, right? Because even Van Fleet is pretty tough. You can go after Gary Trent, but this isn't these easy switches like getting 37-year-old Chris Paul, right? Or getting, a Tyler Hero, who I talked about, teams hunting earlier. So I think that's one of the reasons that Luka has problems is he can't just dictate the matchups on soft switches because who are you hunting, right? So not surprising that this is a team that gives Luka struggles, given that he's going to the good J money line there. Let's talk about this one, AP, and I'm going to have to start with you because this is probably what most people are tuning in for. And when we're on the Hardwood Show and on the Up to Lock Show, this is probably going to be where a majority of the listeners' questions come from. The Golden State Warriors at New Orleans Pelicans. If you didn't catch the news, let me catch you up. Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Iguodala, Andrew Wiggins, Steph Curry, and DiVincenzo all out for the Warriors, which means it's like going to Costco, AP. There's value everywhere. What do we do?
Yeah, so, everyone's going to say, yeah, the Pelicans are going to smash. They're healthy. Just like we know the Pelicans are good. We really like this team. We were high on them in our previews. Everything in line. Now the Warriors are benching their starters. However, man, if we go back to last season when Kerr did this, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I should have done my due diligence a little bit better, but just going off memory, I'm pretty sure this in all the times that Kerr did this second unit, these young dudes stepped up and played hard with Poole there, who kept them in it offensively. I wouldn't count them out. How funny would it be? We've been betting against the Warriors. I've been betting against the Warriors this whole road trip. How funny would it be now they bench all their starters? These young dudes come out, finally cover a spread on this road trip, which they have yet to do. So if I could get 11 or 12 here, the Warriors plus 11 or 12, I think I'm hitting the Warriors. And I love Poole Jordan Poole is close to an absolute lock for me tonight. 6.5K. He's going to be their entire offense. As long as it's not a 25-point game, Poole's going to be in there and he's going to be firing shots. Moody, Kuminga, absolute stud. He's going to be solid here. So we had a question in chat earlier. I'm struggling with all the 3 guys from the Warriors. Let me help you out real quick because I think this is pretty easy. Kuminga, phenomenal play. Absolute I'm not going to say lock because there's so many good values. But if you're struggling, start with him. There's no problem with playing Kuminga. Flat 3K on this slate, a guy that has upside, can do it offensively and defensively, can get steals and blocks. Moody, they're going to need scoring. He's a guy that can get to the rim. I like him. Some of the guys that JaMychal Green, while he's been good in the off the bench role, I would be a little bit concerned with the rotation there because you got to think if this game goes to garbage time, Moody's going to be in there. Kuminga's going to be in there. It'd probably be Ty Jerome, Wiseman, and then I don't know, one of these other dudes. So that's what you got to keep in mind. So these guys that are starting like Moody, Kuminga versus a JaMychal Green, they should be in the game no matter what. If the game gets out of hand, they're going to be in there. You're going to get more minutes, and their ability to pay off their price tag is going to be there, especially against the second unit that this Pelicans team has. JaMychal Green, I'd be a little bit more concerned. While I do think he should be in your player pool. And then Ty Jerome, I think, is a little interesting as well. What
about Patrick Baldwin? Flat 3K, rookie. You know they want to see him play. They've yet to see him play.
Yeah, he would be one of those guys that, man, like we don't have any minutes on. We don't have any, like we haven't seen him on the court yet at all. So I would defer that to you. Are we ever going to play 3K guys, flat 3K? So that'd be Moody, Kuminga, and Baldwin. Probably not on this slate. I don't think you need it. I don't think those guys can do enough to justify playing them over like some of these other elite plays that we talked about, the guys from the Heat. Like if you're playing all three of those guys, it means you're paying up for like multiple studs, which I don't think you need to do on the slate when we have, the Heat guys that we talked about. We talked about the, KD, the one stud that we want, and then the Philly, Tyrese Maxey. So for me, it's probably 3K guys at most. And Moody and Kuminga, the guys I'm looking at. But I love Jordan Poole as well.
Just a little sales pitch on Baldwin, because you brought up the two names. What if I told you Baldwin's pretty much Moody and Kuminga put together? The way he plays.
No,
like the dudes can shoot from outside, can shoot the mid-range, can get to the hoop. He was ranked like 4th in the high school rankings coming out. Just went to his dad's college, kind of disappeared into all that. He's kind of flying under the radar. This kid is really good. Almost reminds me of MPJ too. So like garbage time, this dude could come in and hit 5 threes if they're just letting him chuck.
So if he comes out and if he starts, yeah, sign me up. But if he's not starting,
yeah, you want nothing to do with him because he might not.
Yeah, we just don't know what the rotation is going to be.
I got you.
But either way, they got to start some of these guys. I think it's Moody. I think it's Kuminga for sure. And those would be the guys. And then Jordan Poole. Those would be the guys. I mean, if Jordan Poole doesn't start, then I'm very, very concerned. I would not be. I would play all the young guys, all the 3K guys then.
How about running it back with Zion?
Yeah, you could do that. The one problem is like the Pelicans are fully healthy now. They should be in the lead most of this game. They could roll out like a 12-man rotation if they wanted to keep their guys fresh and healthy. So just from a pure like coaching standpoint, do you really need to give Zion his full run in this spot against a depleted Warriors team? Probably not. I think he comes in at – I think Zion – like I would project Zion for like 28 to 30 minutes.
Okay. All right. Great point there. All right. 3 games left. Give us that thumbs up, and we're going to talk about the Portland Trailblazers, who are plus 11, taking on the Phoenix Suns. Total 219. Tyler, I got to pull up the news because I can't believe that the spread is this high. I really want to jump in on Phoenix here. I see that Trendon Watford is doubtful.
Big name coming up on that injury report.
Who?
That's what Anthony Simons.
Oh, that's it. Okay. I only see questionable, though, so we're going to have to wait for the news on that. But this line tells me they don't expect him to be in there. How do you expect this game to go if, say, Simon sits? Because if he's out, if he's playing, then I'm going to take the points.
Yeah, I mean, if he's in slightly into the points, I'll probably stay away from the game as a whole just because Phoenix, you never know what's going to happen. They might just come out and clamp down on this team, and Portland's just squeezed all the way to like 85 points, and that's it. And while Phoenix turns around and hangs a $120. So I'm probably just going to play it through like a Devin Booker to score 30 plus and Phoenix wins, get that at plus money instead of laying the points because there's no guards really to stop him on the other side. Like he should have his way with this team. Like it would take these guys from Portland just shooting the lights out to stay in it. And also Ayton's looking like he's going to be back. Torrey Craig's going to be back. Like these are other rotational guys for Phoenix. Probably Phoenix or pass for me spread.
If Simon sits, we each have more and more value on this slate. I mean, this might be the most value I've ever seen on a slate this season. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I'm kind of aligned with Tyler here. Like, man, this line does seem like Simons is probably a true questionable decision coming in. Foot inflammation is what it looks like, the report I saw. Without him, man, this is going to be a tough spot for the Blazers. And I don't like the vet, like Shaedon Sharpe. I mean, he's fine. I don't know. I mean, it's still up again. Like, it's still not a good matchup. The Suns are going to clamp down defensively.
Yeah, because
in here,
if Simons isn't in there and he draws Miles Bridges, as great as Shaedon Sharpe's been, I don't know how he does against one of the best players in the NBA. I
mean, luckily Josh Hart. These guys are priced up to a range where we don't have to like put them in. Like we don't have to really consider them too much. So honestly, I think I'm going to cross this game off and just
even
I'm going to
if
be
Simon
so
sits, there's no play.
Well, I mean spread. We like for me, it's a function of I've already identified so many other good plays that start early where we know what the situation is. And what I mean by that is we're going to know instead of like risking it and waiting, for someone to get ruled out. So
there's some
I'm going to just lock it. Yeah, I'm going to lock in the decisions early on this slate, load up on these early games. And I'm just going to hope that, hey, maybe he plays. And then it's like, if he even plays, like I'm not paying 7-7 for Simons against the Suns. Like, it's a tough matchup. So
yeah, no, I don't think I would play him either. I would just think that maybe it would open up some opportunities for some other players. But I think great game theory point there. Why wouldn't you go with the known rather than waiting on the unknown when you could possibly end up being left holding the bag and not being happy about that? The Milwaukee Bucks are -3.5 in Minnesota taking on the Timberwolves. Tyler, the Bucks have yet to lose this year. The Timberwolves, a team I was so high on in our previews, haven't put it together yet. We were arguing with Travis, or I was arguing with Travis on Tuesday. He thinks the Timberwolves are going to be down all year. I think they're going to turn it around, just not tonight. Is it going to be a big night for Giannis? He's the highest priced player on the slate, and he's going up against Rudy Gobert. How do you see this game playing out, Tyler?
I'm going to start this breakdown a little bit of a spoiler alert. I got dibs on this. This is my best bet of the day. Minnesota is basically the worst version of Milwaukee. Giannis is the best big man on the floor. Rudy Gobert and Edwards are coming in with Q-tags illnesses. I'm going to get it on this number right now before one of these guys is rolled out, and you have what happens in the Pelican Golden State game. That spread was also -4. All these guys get rolled out. We're looking at a -11 now. Like, I just don't – unless Minnesota just shoots the lights out, Milwaukee should just roll in here and have their way with this team. Like, it gets hot. You put Drew Holiday on him, slows him down. Like, no one's stopping Giannis. They have the better bench. Like, I just think they're a better team overall, and you're getting them at -4. They're rolling. Give me Milwaukee here, spread. They're winning this game by double digits.
All right. AP, what do you think on this one? You've talked about identifying some good spots before. Does that mean that we've crossed this game off too?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think DFS-wise I'm going to be getting to this game. It's just the Wolves. I mean, right now they're healthy. Like, if we assume that the guys that are questionable, if we assume they play, then it's just so many mouths to feed. And then Giannis, he's 12.6K. I think KD could put up a similar score to what Giannis puts up tonight. So I'm going to take KD plus the savings and apply it elsewhere in my lineup. So I don't really feel like I need Giannis. He could definitely, like, there's enough value to make him work. And I do think you should go out there and try to build a few builds where you're plugging in all the elite value, 2 of those 3K Warriors guys, and just see what the Giannis Luka lineups look like, or Giannis KD, just to get an idea of what they look like, because people are going to play them, because it's going to be a route that I know the cash game guys look at, just because you're locking in such a good floor with a route like that. Not the way I'm going to be building, though, tonight, so I'm going to be off this game. I am excited to watch this game. I hope the Wolves are healthy, and I hope Giannis comes in and, does his thing. So I will say, tougher for him to maybe get to the rim here, with all the size that the Wolves have. But Giannis has shown, he's been working on that mid-range game. So really excited to see this matchup. I don't know. I think if everyone's healthy on the Wolves side, I think it's a close game.
He's got a history of absolutely abusing Gobert under the hoop too. So
does he? All right,
yeah,
there you go.
He's coming for him tonight.
I'll have to look that up. The good old stat muse, DVP or BVP.
We're smashing through the slate here on the NBA Rundown. All we ask is that you smash that like button. The final game of the night, the Utah Jazz, another surprise team this year, 6-3, playing the Los Angeles Lakers. They haven't got off to a good start. Not going to say that's a surprise. Wasn't talking to a lot of people that were high on the Lakers this year, but you can never count out a team with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. The Lakers laying 3.5 at home. Of course, they stole that cover from us the other night, Tyler, when Dyson Daniels failed to miss the free throws. Could be a momentum-building win for a team that desperately needed it. Start with you, Tyler. Did they build off that win that they got against the Pelicans? Boy, they crushed my heart.
It is a tough one for me, because even when the Lakers were bad the last few years and the Jazz had Gobert and Mitchell, It's just like the Lakers just have this. It's almost like we talk about NFL teams. They just have each other's number, regardless of how bad they are. I think the Lakers have the Jazz number.
Yeah.
Even with this scrappy Jazz team coming in, I want to back them at the dog price. I can't get burned by this Lakers team a third time in a row, spread. Like, they burned me twice in a row. And then if the shooting dies tonight and I miss out on a winner, so be it. I just can't get in front of them again and watch Matt Ryan shoot threes from the corner to tie the game and send it to OT where they win it. So I'm going to stay away from this one. Also, Anthony Davis is questionable to no one's surprise. I think he plays. He should have his way with Olynyk and Markkanen up front. So he could have a big game here. But mostly from the betting side, I'm staying away.
Tyler's not touching the stove anymore. AP, what are your thoughts?
I was confused by like the report. Like, I think LeBron and what did it say? AD, they're excused from like shoot around today. So I mean, it's probably nothing, but I thought that was funny. Like, I've never seen that where a player's excused.
That's called they had a lunch date and they didn't feel like
they had a lunch date.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, this is a tough game. Like, the Lakers, like on paper, you'd think that they should easily be able to handle this Jazz team, but this Jazz team continues to surprise. They do have some shooting, so I don't know. I'm a little concerned with the Lakers side here, but I think if I had to bet it, I think I'd be on the Lakers side. If you can get -3. I do like what they're doing with Russ off the bench. It does seem like the rotation is a little bit better, but man, if they could get rid of him, get some pieces coming, and maybe this is like a good move to make Russ look a little bit better because you are seeing him
he
up there.
looked damn good the other night coming off a second unit.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I'll be on the Lakers here. Maybe slight lean on the under.
I mean, we don't have these in the NBA, right? But in the NFL, we always talk about look aheads, and if they did exist, and they made this line before the season, Tyler, it wouldn't have been like Lakers -9.
Oh yeah, it would have been pretty big.
So I think the value on the Jazz is over. For the people who cashed some Jazz tickets early, congratulations. But it seems like the market's caught up. Maybe a bit of overcorrection here, which is why, as much as I like betting against Jonathan Nelson and his favorite team, the Lakers, I can't do that tonight. So we made it through the full slate here on the NBA Rundown.
One guy I wanted to ask AP about when it comes to DFS.
Yeah.
He's 4,400. Colin Sexton. He has a little extra motivation here because remember, he was drafted by Cleveland, wanted to play with LeBron. LeBron kind of booted him out the door, or LeBron left right as he got drafted. Probably wants to show the guy he was able to play with him. So, and the guards for LA don't play much defense. He could come in here and hang a giant number, I think. Similar to like that game he played for Cleveland last year where they played Brooklyn, and he was the reason why they ended up winning that game, and the dude absolutely nuked. I think it could be right here again. So I'd keep an eye on him at 4,400.
Yeah, no, I like that call. And we saw that rotation with Conley, Sexton, and Clarkson all playing together, multiple times against the Mavericks. So I think that's a route. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a similar rotation. And if we do, that means, we could see 25 to 30 minutes from Colin Sexton. So yeah, in the first few builds I ran, the projection on him, it seemed like he was hitting a lot of optimal builds. If he was going to be like chalk or popular, I think I would move off. But if he's going to be very low owned, then yeah, I have interest in him in this spot.
Probably be lower owned with all the other values running around in that price range.
I mean, you would think so, but when you
there to get different.
Yeah. Yep.
So, all right, we did it. We made it through the full slate, man. AP, they really loaded us up for this Friday, huh? They gave us 2 games yesterday, right? We almost did a podcast just talking about the NBA in general because we only had 2 games on the slate. And today it just felt like we were shooting out information like a machine gun. I hope you guys enjoyed it here. Brought to you by runpuresports.com. Give us a like, but we're not done yet. It's time for the best bets. AP, we'll start with you. Last week, you gave us one of the best bets of the NBA season. That was both
me and Tyler. Me and Tyler. We piggybacked on that one. But I feel like I'm going to steal Tyler's again, so let's go to him first because I don't want to. If he's on it, I don't want to steal it.
Go ahead and say it because I know where you're going.
All right, we'll do that again. All right, I'm going Miami Heat Pacers overs.
Oh, okay. No, that was.
Is that the one you're on or not?
No, I like that one. Give me the Bucks -4. I think they.
Okay, Bucks. I like that one too.
This Timberwolves team. When I seen that line, it was like this line should be 6 or 7. The Bucks are the best team in the league. I think they just smash them here. Give me the Bucks -4.
I love that too.
All right, you're on the Bucks. AP's got the over in the Pacers and the Heat, expecting a big night from Hero and Halliburton. And I'm going to go ahead. Tyler, what do I love to do? Bet the Warriors. Do I care that everybody's out? No, because AP's talking about it.
Speaking of that, because I didn't touch on that game, you just did this the last show spread. You took the Titans against the Chiefs. AP's not going to be happy to hear that one.
I took the plus 13. I didn't say they were going to win outright.
Okay, but now think about this. You're taking a plus 11.5 against a team that's getting back their best defensive player, and now they can run their best defensive lineup off a loss that they should have won. I think they squeeze this team and they just blow them out. And Golden State's also returning home after this game. I think they're just done here. I think they're waving the white flag. I think this looks similar when Memphis beat them up in the playoffs last year. They're losing this game by 30.
All right. So once again, we're opposite, but hey, all right. We can't hold hands and sing Kumbaya on every episode of the NBA Rundown. And it's been a contentious week.
Put our guy AJ's comment up on the screen so you'll get kicked in the nuts.
I don't want to get kicked in the nuts by Hoop. So you guys got to hit the likes because Hoop does not like when I give out the best bets and we're sitting at like 30 likes with over 180 people watching. So guys, Hoop's such a nice guy. We don't want to make him mad. Keep him off our radar. I'm a nice guy too. I don't like getting these messages from Hoop. So make sure you give us a like. And that's what we've done for you here today. Tyler, we put in a lot of work today. Of course, if you missed Talking Touchdowns, it will be up on our podcast network and, of course, on the YouTube channel. AP, thank you for joining us again on a Friday. They've heard enough from Tyler today. Let's hear some words of wisdom from you before we sign off.
Yeah, we got the NBA Hardwood show coming up later. Free show on YouTube. Head over to or stay on this channel. Actually, I believe before that, the boys are going to be recording the Print Factory. Big T, JSU, Dunkel. They're going to be recording that probably right now. They're probably going live here shortly. So, tons of content. The NFL slate looks like a ton of fun this weekend. Chiefs are going to roll though. Maybe they won't cover the spread. They're definitely going to roll.
He just kicked your bet right in the nuts.
Yeah, I got plus.
I mean, did you not see Kadarius Toney out there? Oh man,
there was never a hamstring injury.
There was never an issue, man. Oh, he was cutting hard too. Oh, yeah, love seeing that video.
Yeah, well, you know, Vrabel's right there with Tomlin, right? 1A and 1B for my favorite coaches. So we'll see if
Speaking of that spread, you see the news in Pittsburgh?
What?
Spreads came out for this week. They're still 14-point underdogs on their bye week.
Excellent. Yeah, let's see if they can defeat that bye. On that note, thank you everyone for joining us. We'll be back Monday. So for Tyler and I schedule, what do? We're going to do NBA Rundown at 12 Eastern. We'll have JC Zargo as our guest there. And then right after that at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, we'll do Talking Touchdowns. That's where Tyler and I review what we saw for the week. And then, of course, give you the earliest look for the Monday Night Football game. And that's going to head into the Showdown show. That's at 3 p.m. Eastern. So plenty of great content. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. You'll get notified every time we go live. Run Pure.